Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're going to be showing what I got in trade for my Benchmade Model 42 Balisong. As I mentioned in the previous video, I did a partial trade, so I got some cash and this knife to make up value. And this is a knife I've had before. I've actually had this knife twice. But I wanted one back in the collection just because it's a unique mechanism. I mentioned this before, one of my favorite collections of knives. Really are all over the place with value, but they are knives with interesting mechanisms, like cool locking mechanisms, different closing mechanisms, just anything that's just unusual. Not your just standard liner lock, lock back, or back lock, or, frame lock, axis lock, nothing like that. Like, for example, the CRKT locks system, LAWKS, where you have a liner lock, but you have an additional switch on the back that moves a plate that locks the lock. Like, that's interesting to me. That's a unique mechanism, in my opinion. So anyway, this knife fits that role, and I thought, hey, what the heck, why not? I was able to get the cash to do what I needed to do with it, and that's already in and out. Cash comes and goes, but this knife will stay in the collection, so it's kind of cool. So, you can see, oh, well, maybe you can see, but it's a Benchmade case here. I purposely left it off the table so you wouldn't know it was a long knife. And at this point, some of you guys might already know what it is. And anyone who's watched the channel for a long time probably remembers this knife on the channel. But this is the Benchmade LFK. Alright, so LFK stands for large folding knife, even though I love it to stand for large effing knife. I think that's just funny. But the whole point of this knife here is to have a longer blade to handle ratio. So you have this massive blade, but a smaller handle. How do you accomplish that? Because the blade's going to stick out. Well, we have this plastic piece here, right? So, what happens to that plastic piece? For anyone who hasn't seen this knife before, it just disappears. Pretty cool, right? So you have this really nice, huge folder. I mean, we're talking cold steel territory, right? This really does compete with a cold steel folder, but from Benchmade. So where did it go? Where'd the plastic piece go? Well, here we go. Let's close the knife, and there it is coming out of the handle. All right, so a very simple thing. I mean, to a lot of people, this is new because you haven't seen this before, but it's a really simple concept. There's a second plate in here that corresponds with the inside of the blade. So as the blade is pushed down, it's pushing a bar, like a metal bar, which is attached to this. All right, so pushing the blade manipulates that, or you can move the blade by moving the piece of plastic, because they're obviously connected on the inside. All right, so this allows for the blade to go past the handle and obviously still be, protected. You can't just have an exposed blade. That's silly. Now, they do make this style of knife. Many different companies actually have had alterations of this knife. I've seen this where the blade sticks out. I've owned this from like Marbles, let's say, where they had a more traditional style, but it's exposed and the whole thing goes into a sheath. It goes into a leather sheath, so obviously it's not going to be dangerous, but when you pull it out, it's the same deal. This is just kind of cool, so you can actually carry it in the pocket. It's a really simple design. The knife itself is not super special. This one happens to be a first production run. All right, so I'll show you that real quick here. So this is number 324. Whoa, sorry. Camera wanted to vibrate for some random reason. Number 324 out of 500. All right, also you can see this is a Steigerwalt design, or Steigerwalt, excuse me. It's been quite some years since we've had one. There's the Benchmade logo, and I think I missed it, but there it is behind the pivot screw. It is 440C. All right, you can see our pocket clip on here. Yeah, I mean, like I said, overall, the handle's kind of funky. It's chunky. It's not really funky at all. It's a chunky handle, so it does give you a lot of grip. So if you actually want to, like, carry and use this thing, you certainly can. And it does come razor sharp. And PS, 440C is still a good steel, even in 2025. You heard it from me, from Jeff, the cutlery lover. 440C is fine, okay? I know there's so many steel snobs out there. Oh, 440C. And my grandma used 440C. Yeah, I know. I get it. But just because there's better doesn't mean it's bad. I'll give you a great example. A classic muscle car, right? You take a late 60s, like a 69 Chevy Nova or something. Those are all cool cars. We still think they're cool. They still serve the purpose. They're loud. They're fast. But they're not really fast in today's standards, are they? They're big, huge hunks of metal with huge motors that are less efficient than what we have today, our technology. We could put a smaller motor in that's just as powerful. We could put a tiny motor in and turbocharge it, apparently, and make that super powerful, right? We could supercharge tiny motors, or you could put a big old motor and then do the same thing and get ridiculous type power. So that is definitely a thing where, even though things have progressed and they've gotten better and better as far as performance goes, and that's what I'm talking about, performance, you could still enjoy the classics. Does that make sense? So 440C to me is the muscle car of today. No, it's not going to beat a lot of people on the, a drag strip. You can take a Honda out there. You take a Honda Civic. It's got a little work done to it, and you could beat a really cool old muscle car. But there's still satisfaction in the muscle car, and it still goes. You know what I'm saying? So there's my argument for that. 440C is fine. Is it my go-to choice? No, of course not. We have a lot of better choices, but it's not like it's crap all of a sudden. It was the knife choice. It was what was used on most high-quality knives for decades. So anyway, we do have standoffs here. Okay, so it's a flow-through design. Obviously, the plastic is in the way towards the bottom there, but it helps with, collecting dust and such. You see pot clip is a tip down, of course, right side clip, but we do have drilling and milling or tapping for a left side carry if you want. All right, and yes, you can carry this in the pocket. It does come with a sheath, but I've carried these before in the pocket like this. I have never carried it in the sheath before. The sheath's fine. It's nothing particularly special. As I'm talking, I'm feeling something at the bottom. I think it's the paperwork. Yeah, all right, so we got the paperwork in here. But yeah, Life Sharp program, Benchmade. I don't recall the exact year the LFK came out, but when it came out, it was cool. It was the new thing. Now, I can tell you the good news. Oh, yeah, this is when they had... Oh, no, they don't have the red class on this. Interesting. Anyway, I'll look at that later. But what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought here. What the heck was I going to say? I don't remember. I have a total blank. The condition on this one's pretty good. Oh, I do remember what I was going to say. I'll still hold on to say it. So there's a little bit of damage, like just a tiny speckle where this got rubbed or something. On the back here, there's a little bit of damage. So this is probably carried, but not used or used very lightly because the blade looks almost mint. There's like a hairline rub or something, which I don't even see anymore. It was over here. But yeah, I mean, the blade's in fantastic shape. If I wipe off the lint and everything, because it does have a light oiling on it. It doesn't look very used, if used at all. All right, so we pretty much have... I mean, the edge also feels like a factory edge to me. But yeah, so it seems like this was carried on occasion, but never really used or, like I said, used much. What I was going to say, the good news is that if you like this knife, even though this is long out of production, the prices came down on these. Now, a couple years back, if you wanted one of these things, they'll run you $400 or $500. But I just checked eBay for comps, and there's 3 of them listed for $300. There's a Harley Davidson version, which was more expensive. I remember seeing this when my dad bought his Harley at a Harley dealership. I was with him, my mom, my sister. We all went. It was a whole thing. He bought what was it, a Sportster, I think? Just, cheaper Harley. Didn't have, a ton of money to spend, but he just always wanted a brand new Harley, and so it was a big moment for him. But when I was perusing, because I didn't really care about motorcycles, I was looking at their accessory stuff, and they had a knife case. And they specifically had Harley Davidson licensed Benchmades in there. They had a Benchmade 940 with the Harley logo on it. They had a Benchmade monochrome at the time, which is the red class, with the Harley logo on it. And they had a Benchmade LFK. All right, the Harley LFK had these the gray inserts. So I didn't go over this, but we have some rubberized inserts on the handle on both sides. Now this is the green version with the plain edge. All right, so a little bit different. That's another reason why I was okay with accept and trade for this, because I've had the gray version, I've had a plain edge version, and a combo edge version. Now the gray inserts with the combo edge is the most common one, and the other ones are a little less common. But anyway, yeah, so there's a Harley one for $300 on there. There's, I think, a gray with the combo edge. That's $300, but on top, depending on when you're watching this video, and who gets to grab this one, if you're interested in this, they actually have a prototype. There's a prototype available that is also $300. Now, if you look, these is what people are listing right now. So there's 3 of them as of the filming of this video, which is in late January 2025. Obviously, the market's constantly changing, but if you look at comps, right, when you're looking at price comparisons, you don't really look at what's available, you look at what was recently sold. And what was recently sold was in the $275 to $300 range. Now, a lot of times that was someone taking an offer. They might have listed it for more, $300 or $400, but they accepted $275. But that's about the low end. So I wouldn't really, I mean, you get a hell of a deal if you find it for less than $275. But that's about the going rate, $275 to $300. All right, as of right now. And like I said, that's down from years ago. Years ago, there was more, I guess, excitement or what, who knows what runs the market, you know, what influences everything. If someone popular makes a video on something, everyone, oh, they'll go looking for it. Maybe, you know, there's less available, more people are interested. There's a ton of factors that go into that, but for whatever reason, prices came down on them. All right, so they are available at what you might consider a reasonable price. You know, you might get $100 or $200 off of what it was if you bought it a couple years ago. So interesting how discontinued knives fluctuate in price, but generally they do go up. I don't recall offhand the original price for the LFK. You guys can, you know, someone who knows that might be able to put it in the comments. But anyway, just want to share this with you guys. I thought it was super cool. Very happy with the trade. I really like the person. We've traded before. He's very excited to get the 42. He hasn't had one. He said he wanted one since 2009. So I am super stoked for him to be able to enjoy it. He will flip it and use it, right? So that's, I mean, A+. That's awesome. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. Let me know down in the comment section, do you own an LFK? And are you interested in going and get one now that you saw this video? Because you didn't know it existed, and now you think it's cool like I do, and you want one. Let me know. Curious. That's it. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you tomorrow with a brand new video.